Welcome back to TAPintoTV. I'm Brian BRODEUR, coming to you from East Main Media Studios in Little Falls, New Jersey. On this week's show, we speak with multimedia journalist Tom Franklin about his latest online exhibition, Seeking Refuge. We learn about how real estate expert Lou Pennacchio builds trust with his clients, and we find out what music artist he's seen in concert dozens of times. We get to meet the owners of Profeta Farms and learn about their mission and how they've expanded their delivery service. But first, Stephanie Willoughby speaks with florist Anna Coy of Blooms in Hand about how she has adapted her business during the pandemic.
Today, I'm joined by Anna Coy of Blooms in Hand. Anna, how are you today?
I'm great, thanks.
Anna, can you introduce Blooms in Hand to our audience?
My business is Blooms in Hand. I have a full-service floral studio in Verona. We're primarily a subscription service where we deliver fresh bouquets, wrapped and ready, delivered to your door all over the area, weekly, bi-weekly, or once a month. We also host classes and workshops and are all over the place doing weddings and special events.
So I have been obsessed with watching a few shows during the pandemic on florists and flowers and all the amazing things that you can make with them. I'm really curious how you got into this as a career.
Well, I had always worked through like high school into college on summer vacations and holidays and things like that at different garden centers. So I've always kind of had an interest in gardening and floral work. I really thought floral design was something I'd like to try. And I harassed this owner of a shop in Philly to hire me forever. And then finally he gave me a shot. And I was there for well over a decade learning the trade. And then we moved up here and that's where I started this business.
Your business has really, really taken off. It's really incredible because whenever I bring you up, everyone's like, I know Blooms in Hand. Like it's a household name at this point, at least in Essex County, and I'm sure growing and growing. Can you tell us a little bit about what it's been like to own your own business?
When I started this business, I really just thought kind of a subscription service might be something people might be interested in. And I really thought that maybe that might be a cool direction for flowers because it is a little bit more sustainable in this kind of modern environment of not necessarily needing a storefront, but having a space to operate out of. So when I kind of set off, I just kind of wanted to put my feelers out to see how things would go. And based on the response, I mean, it was pretty busy from the beginning and we've just kind of been growing since.
With everything that's happened with the pandemic, and I don't want to dwell on it too much because we are on the up and up, or trying to be at least, can you tell us a little bit about what it was like when you got the orders to shut down and then what it's been like getting started again?
I had a breakdown. I definitely did some sobbing on the floor at the prospect of not having work to go to that Monday and disappointing customers and, looking at all the events. To say I had a busy spring lined up, I mean, we had so many projects and events and weddings and classes and private things and street fairs, and to have all of that gone in an instant was really kind of hard. We waited and waited until it was safe to come back to work when my wholesalers opened up again, when we knew the protocols we could put in place and keep everybody in the flowers safe and get everything delivered. Then we opened up as soon as we could, which was around Mother's Day. So to be closed for so long and then jump in with both feet into the biggest holiday of the year was a really intense week.
So Anna, tell us a little bit about what you have going on come this summer.
Every year, I work with Morgan's Farm in Cedar Grove, and we host a farm-to-vase floral arranging event where you get to cut your own flowers from their flower beds and then come up to the bar, and we have a floral arranging event. We're locking down the details as to how that's going to work with the current state of things, but we're going to be having, it's still going to happen. We're going to have a smaller group of people and probably over the course of a few nights. But it's a wonderful way to spend an evening, and we're going to be socially distanced and just kind of enjoy some time in a garden. And it's also great to give back to a local farm that's doing a great job out there. It's a nonprofit as well. I'm also going to be doing some more at-home floral arranging kits. So we're going to be doing one for parents and kids, as well as at-home floral arrangements if you've ever wanted to try to make something for your table.
I want to talk to you about one more angle. We actually haven't really talked to too many of our business owners about this, but seeing as how I know you, I also know that you are a mama and you've got a little girl at home. How is it running the business and like keeping a little one occupied? Can you talk a little bit about being a mom and owning a business?
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, I'm part one of a two-person team raising our three and a half year old daughter, and obviously she's not in school now, and my work used to be only a few days a week, but now I've been here almost every day since Mother's Day without really a day off. There's always something to do or some bouquets to go out, and it's been a little bit more challenging without childcare, kind of added childcare into our household. My husband's a teacher, and he had to teach at a university in the city, and he had to teach from home and is working remotely. So he's taken on the day-to-day. I'm very lucky that he's been able to work remotely because certainly I love having my daughter at the studio, but she rips this place apart.
Anna, where can our audience find out more about Blooms in Hand?
Best way to reach me is via Instagram or Facebook. You can message me anytime, and I'm on there probably way too much. And you can always post questions there, or even just send me an inquiry that way, and I'm always happy to help.
Anna, thank you so much for today.
I am so happy to have been here. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of the summer.
You too.
What is TAPintoTV? TAPintoTV is the flagship video channel within the TAPinto hyperlocal news network. Not only are we producing original video programming, but we're also developing branded content for industries including business and finance, health and wellness, arts and entertainment, and more. The TAPinto network reaches a dedicated audience of over 8 million subscribers and users, with over 30 million unique page views last year alone. Nearly 2/3 of the TAPinto audience views TAPinto content 5 to 7 times per week, and almost half of that audience bought a product or service because they saw it advertised on TAPinto. TAPintoTV content is automatically distributed to over 40 affiliate websites within the TAPinto network. And not only have we recently launched a dedicated Roku channel, but we produce a weekly half-hour broadcast television show on News 12 Plus, which reaches over 3.5 million homes across the tri-state area. We know how to tell your story, and not only can we professionally produce it, but we can effectively distribute it as well. For more information about how TAPintoTV can help you, visit tapintotv.net or email us at tapintotv@gmail.com.
To watch more TAPintoTV videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel at TAPintoTV.
It is my honor today to be joined by Tom Franklin, photojournalist, but more accurately, multimedia journalist, or as he says, multimediaist. Tom, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
I really wanted to talk to you about a new project, an exhibition called Seeking Refuge. Now, we are talking in August 2020, and we are in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. And I would like you to tell me how this exhibition started and what it's about, but also tell me about how it was changed from in-person to virtual. So please tell me about the exhibition.
The project began in 2015. I was commissioned by Vice to write an opinion piece about a photograph that was that had really captured the world's attention. It's a photograph you've probably seen. It was a young Syrian child who had drowned while trying to get to the European Union, to Greece, one of the Greek islands, with his family, and a rescue worker was carrying the young child. And so Vice had asked me to write this opinion piece to kind of talk about how iconic photographs, like my 9/11 photograph, might influence public opinion. And I had my opinion was that photograph was really, really hard to look at and stark and really grabbed the world's attention. And that got me thinking about the Syrian refugee crisis that was raging at that point. And it kind of blossomed into this 6-year project that focused on the broad topic of forced migration.
Now, I want to bring to attention, this was intended to be a physical exhibition, but it is being presented online. And it is stirring and it's easy to navigate. Would you tell me about the circumstances of moving from a physical exhibition and then becoming virtual, please?
This was going to be a little bit more expansive exhibit at the Patterson Museum, but the Patterson Museum closed when everything else had closed in March, and they have not reopened. So I strategized with them about creating this virtual exhibit. Heather Garside, who's the curator, really had the first planted the seed in my mind, and then I worked with a web designer, Marty Halo, to create a presentation that would present the 6-year project in a way that would be both meaningful as well as easy to consume and understand.
I want to drill down into that. Could you tell me about what it means to you, or your explanation of the power of essays with photos? You also have some video in there. You have a very stirring short film or a short documentary featuring Eric in Greece, on the island in Greece, talking about the life preserver graveyard, and his story is very impactful. Can you tell me about the power of combining those different mediums or media?
I love photography. I'm very passionate about photography. I think photographs can speak to people in ways that words and videos can't. Yet, on the other hand, there are things that video can convey and show and express in ways that still photographs maybe perhaps can't. All my reporting focuses also on what's going on here in New Jersey, right? So my scholarship really examines global issues and how it affects us here in the community. Well, we have a large Syrian community here in New Jersey, specifically in Patterson. And so it wasn't very difficult to connect the dots from what was happening in Syria to Greece to here in New Jersey, and then what was happening at the border. And I had also done some reporting in central Mexico around the Guadalajara area. I had a teaching opportunity there in the summer of 27, shortly after I went to Greece. And it all crystallized for me just how similar, the plight of migrants from Central America was with, refugees who are seeking asylum in the European Union because of civil war and other, hardships in their hometowns and country.
I'm going to ask you one of my favorite questions that I like to ask creative, professional people like yourself. How did you get your start? What sparked you to be a photographer and a media journalist? What was your early inspiration?
I love that question. So I was always a creative person. I was a creative kid. And my mom had always encouraged me to be creative. And I discovered photography early on in college and immediately fell in love with the process. And then while I was at college, I got a job working in the darkroom at a newspaper. And I was suddenly surrounded by photojournalists. And I wanted to do work like them. I wanted to be like them. I found it very exciting. I saw it as an opportunity for adventure and meeting people and getting out into the world and getting a front row seat, so to speak, at major events. And it's really been the passion of my life, Brian. I enjoy meeting people. I enjoy covering stories. I love getting engaged in a topic that is meaningful, like the Seeking Refuge project. And so one of the things about photojournalism I really love, Brian, is that it marries the reporting part with the creative part. And that has always appealed to me, right? Because I never really consider myself a true artist, but there's an artistic aspect to what I do. And so I'm very passionate about storytelling, and I'm very passionate about photojournalism, and that would include video storytelling as well.
Tom Franklin, photojournalist, multimedia journalist. Check him out at thomasfranklin.com or seekingrefugephotos.com. An amazing exhibition, really worth time taking a look at. Tom, thanks for joining me.
All right, Brian, it was nice talking with you. Thank you.
To learn more about Tap Into TV, visit tapintotv.net.
The saying I always use is paying taxes once is your obligation, but paying taxes twice is your fault. Typically, qualified assets like 401ks and IRAs have never been taxed, but they continue to grow. And in most cases, the tax liability on these qualified assets is completely ignored. When converting to a Roth IRA, you will trigger a taxable event. In nearly all cases, the money to pay the tax on that Roth IRA conversion should come from outside funds or non-qualified accounts. Consider these questions. What do you think tax rates will be in the future? And when will you need the money? Contact us for more information about how we can help you make a wise decision regarding Roth IRAs and your complete tax picture.
So it is my distinct pleasure to be joined today by Lou Pennacchio, a broker and salesperson at Keller Williams Metropolitan in Morristown, New Jersey. Thanks, Lou. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So we have lots to talk about, both business and otherwise.
Yes.
So let's start with the easy stuff.
Okay.
Tell me about Linda Ronstadt. You have seen her 56 times in concert.
Yes.
Tell me how you became a fan.
It's all my sister's fault, who took me for my 12th birthday to her concert in New Jersey, in Passaic, New Jersey. And she was joking with me because I had Charlie's Angels posters up, and she said, they're all going to come down after you see Linda Ronstadt, and she was right.
Wow.
And I was just amazed at her voice. I was 12 years old. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, and went to see her the rest of my life until she was, not able to sing anymore due to Parkinson's, over 56 times. And I saw every genre of music that she performed.
And to that point, she has crossed over a lot of genres over the years, starting in sort of a country rock mode and really covered tons of things. Well, thank you for that quick departure into the music realm. So let's talk about what you do in the world. You're a broker and a salesperson at the Keller Williams Metropolitan office in Morristown, New Jersey.
Yes.
Yeah. So look, easy question. What's going on in the real estate market? It's dead, isn't it? Nobody's buying anything. Right?
Not true.
So tell me what's going on out there.
It is the busiest market, at least for me, and I know for so many others right now. With the recent events, we've had a lot of people in March, April, May, even June still keep their houses off the market, and also people reluctant to go out and see homes. So there's a huge shortage of inventory. There already was before this started, because we've had such a successful 10, 12-year run of increasing prices, low interest rates, and other things. So there was already a shortage of inventory to begin with, and then you add in the pandemic and everything that happened with that, and it made it even more critical to find homes for people.
You and I talked offline before the interview about, people that do business with you, it's about trust. Can you tell me about, during our pandemic that we're in right now, how that's an even bigger factor for you and how you do business?
Yes. Everything takes twice as long to prepare, whether you're doing an open house for a client or showing someone a property. And every client is different. So some will require that you wear booties. Some will require that you wear masks, gloves, one or all of those above. So I have 2 huge bags that I bring with me filled with hand sanitizer, masks, booties, wipes, disinfectant, so that whatever the client wants, either the one I'm taking to see the house to feel safe and comfortable and trust, or the one I'm doing the open house for and I'm letting people in. It's hard enough to buy a house, right? It's one of the biggest events in most people's lives. So you have that stress any given time, even in good times, and then you add in all of this, and it makes it that much more stressful for everyone. So I just try to make everyone feel as comfortable as possible, and even if I never use anything in those bags, they know that they're there, and I'm doing everything to make them feel safe and comfortable.
What is technology's role today,
Right.
especially during a pandemic? How does that affect your doing business?
I know a lot of realtors were afraid of technology. I just missed when I came in, but prior to me just coming into the business, there were books on the table, and that's how they did business, and you had to look in the book to find the listing. And then it just switched over to the internet, the Garden State, the MLS systems that we use. And I think people feared that you would lose your value, your standing as a realtor, and even your job as a realtor because of technology. And I see it as an enhancement because, especially now, I did my first virtual tour of a listing. I had such a beautiful listing right in the height of the pandemic, and I thought, oh no, no one's gonna come see it. But I met the videographer there. He filmed me.
And you felt that went well and you got good feedback on that?
It was a huge internet hit. Wow. The one thing I always tell people is that you can't replace the knowledge that the realtor has about the business itself and how to get things done. I haven't seen technology do that yet.
Fair enough. I mean, you still need the expert.
I think so, yeah. I don't think that the person will ever go away.
So Lou, speaking of business, tell me what networking and business development means to you. You're part of the ABA networking group. Tell me about that.
It's helped me grow professionally and personally. You know, I was never a huge executive in my corporate career. I'm not. And now I'm a real estate agent, which is fine. But I was sitting at a table of very highly accomplished people in ABA, and I was like, wow, these are people to look up to and to learn from. So I probably was a little intimidated in the beginning. And then as I realized that they were all there to help each other grow and be successful and help each other, I was like, I got more comfortable and feel assured that I have a lot to offer too.
Right. Thanks for joining me today, and we'll see you again real soon.
Thank you for having me.
To watch more Tap Into TV, follow us on social media at TAPintoTV.
I'm joined by Paul and Joanne from Profeta Farms. I'm so thrilled you could join me this morning. Tell me a little bit about the mission of Profeta Farms.
We want to grow the healthiest possible, purest possible food and get it to as many people as we can so that people can see the difference between locally grown, organic food grown by people who really care about it.
This is the way America should eat, and we're hoping that it is successful and it'd be a template that others would copy around the country. When you go to a store and you see a USDA sticker, even if you see the sticker, you really can't be positive that it's certified organic, which is a shame. We call ourselves beyond organic because we do things that are above and beyond their criteria. We're growing animals the way they used to 100 years ago.
Tell me a little bit about how you've created a market on site at your farm.
That was an integral part of the mission. We wanted a store on the farm where people could come to the store and buy all of their products, all their food products. I mean, we don't sell tissue paper or, detergent, but they could buy all their food grown on the farm, certified organic, and available for their validation. We've put the word out to other little small organic farms. If they don't have a good retailing system, we'll give them space in our store at no cost. We want to support them.
Right.
This isn't about us. This is about how America eats. And we're, the T-shirt, revolutionizing the way America eats. That's what it's all about.
We're focusing all of our effort and labor and everything was on that market. And then suddenly we had to kind of switch gears and just start delivering immediately and add towns one by one. And it's really been kind of on the fly trying to get food to people when they need delivery.
If I understand correctly, you were really oriented to have people come to the market, and then you had to find ways to bring your product to people. Can you tell me how that evolved?
So we were getting feedback saying, I'd love your products, but I'm afraid to come to the store. What should I do? And so first we started curbside pickup. And, it was a contact-free way of putting the food in their trunk or their back seat. And people seem to want more than that. And we wanted to expand to a greater population base. So we decided to bring it to them.
Sure. Yeah.
So we've started a free home delivery program. And if you order $50 or more, we'll bring it to your house for free.
So if somebody wants to buy some produce or connect with you, how do they do that?
They go on our website. The website is profetafarms.com. You want to get right to the shopping, do shop.profetafarms.com. It takes you right to what we call our web cart. And there's tabs up above: butcher shop, bakery, vegetables, fruits, eggs, dairy. You click on those and a screen drops down, a page drops down. You pick what you'd like to add to your cart, and then you check out like any mail order system. You give a card, a credit card, and that order gets placed for your delivery. And each geographic area has a different delivery day.
If you want to see if we're delivering to your town at this time, we have a page on our website that we update, and we add the towns as we're able to add delivery service to a town. When you go to our homepage at profetafarms.com, there's like a button on the homepage that gives a schedule. It's like a list of each day and what town we go to on that day.
The morning of that delivery, we run off all the orders, and we have pickers. Literally, we call them pickers. They come in early. They pick the best food we have on the shelves, put them in the boxes, and the boxes are insulated with little ice packs. And then they're immediately put in the cooler. And then once the picking is done, they're put on a refrigerated truck. It goes from the shelf where it's refrigerated to the box, into the cooler, into the truck, to your doorstep.
How do you see things either changing back or staying the way they have evolved? Give me a little crystal ball, please.
I see the current situation as a way for us to get our food to more people on the basis of convenience, as you said, but we're hoping to keep people who may come to us for convenience or come to us because of scarcity in the supermarket or fear of going to the supermarket. But then we got an email from someone saying, I've never seen collard greens like this. I've never tasted strawberries like this. And they never have, because they've been buying them in the supermarket. But now they have, and maybe they won't want to go back.
You know, you're certainly succeeding at helping a lot of people, not just in the pandemic, but in general. You're really on a great path, and I'm thrilled that you took time to speak with us today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for reaching out to us.
Yes.
We really want to spread our message.
We started on this venture, and we're seeing this through, and we're having a wonderful time doing it.
To watch more Tap Into TV, follow us on social media at TAPintoTV.
Tune in next week for another episode of Tap Into TV. Don't forget to follow us on social media, and you can watch any of our video segments anytime at TAPintoTV.net. So thanks for watching. Please stay safe and healthy. See you next week. Ready, from the top. Boom.
Master James Shaw, 8 years old, attends formal school 2 mornings a week.
Yes.
Much of his education, however, is carried on in a kind of education center within the home.
Take two, take two.
His assignments are programmed into the home computer.
Andy, is my tie straight? Right in the lumberyard, Danny.
Galileo's life work, and indeed his personal character.
Wait, must get serious now. Wait.
Hi there. Who's the stranger?
None of this fooling around, hogwash.
Hey, I like that. Come on in, the water's fine.
His name was Robert Paulson.
I didn't know who or where I was until I heard Al's voice.
Hi there, spaceman.
Hello, Brian here.
Hello.
Is this Amazon delivery?